don't want to be in the Zoom call, please tell them to go to our YouTube page and we are live there. You may share that to them and they will be part of the conversation also. So we are now live in YouTube. Thank you so much, Kelly, for helping us out. And thank you, Kurt and Jack, for also being in the sidelines to make sure that everything is good and well during the session today. Again, since we're live, my name is John Baluyot, and I will be the person who will introduce the two beautiful speakers that we will have today. The first one is our moderator. So her name is Gabby Liamzon, and she is our Learning and Development Associate. So I met Gabby. We met Gabby in one of our webinars in Positive Workplaces. Can you imagine that? Nikki Vergara, one of the co-founders, is doing a webinar with I think it was hosted by the Philippine Psychological Association of the Philippines. And then Gabby was one of the, she was one of the people who attended that. And then eventually she resonated with the values of positive workplaces. She was inspired by what we are doing in positive workplaces. So when we opened up a job opportunity, she applied. And now Gabby is part of our team. So I'm very thankful that these webinars and these learning sessions also become a bridge for us to connect to people who similarly believe the things that we are believing in. So that's Gabby. And Alan, we met also in another networking or another event. This event was hosted by the Organization Development Practitioners Network in the Philippines, where I was invited as a speaker to talk about the future of capability building in the Philippines. And Alan was one of the people in the audience, and he reached out to me immediately after the session was done. And here he is right now, guesting in our monthly webinars, as he will be sharing more about how do we awaken heroes. So maybe it's you who's next, we don't know, but we hope that you can be part of this overall experience. Feel free to ask your other colleagues and friends to join today's session. You can still follow through the registration link in our Facebook page. So as we go on, I'm now going to endorse to Gabby to officially start. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you later.
Thank you, John. So good afternoon, everyone. We're excited to have you here. And we hope you are all safe and dry wherever you are right now. So this afternoon, we're going to talk about awakening heroes, empowering your best self. So just a little activity before we start. Can you guys share who your favorite superhero is on the chat box? And while you're doing that, I would like to first and foremost introduce our organization. So we are Positive Workplaces, and our mission is to co-create cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. And we do this through creating positivity ripples. And we believe that you, our participants, are very, very important in creating these ripples. So now in the chat box, I can see a lot of different superheroes that you all admire or look up to. So we also have first-timers. So aside from those superheroes, we believe that you are our superheroes. That's why at the core of our mission, we believe that you, our participants, can lead yourselves. So in leading yourselves, we help you to build knowledge on well-being. We improve your skills on enhancing well-being and leadership, so that in turn, you can also lead others, lead cultures, and ultimately create positive workplaces. Okay, so again, I'm Gabby Liamson, and I am a Learning Development Associate here at Positive Workplaces. So just some reminders. So we would like for you to have another device ready or be ready to go to another link, because we would like to know your inputs. And of course, we would like you to chime in our discussion this afternoon. So all of you will be on mute, but you can share your insights on our chat box. And if you have any questions, you can go to our Pigeonhole. So let me just share that screen for you. so that you can also keep it on your browsers. Okay, so let me know if you're already seeing it. So you can scan this QR code, or you can go to the chat box where we will also share a link so you can access this. Or you can simply type www.pigeonhole.at and enter the passcode heroes. Okay, so if you have any questions during Alan's discussion this afternoon, just put it there so that during our question and answer portion, we can answer that. Okay, so aside from those, we would like for you also to answer our evaluation at the end of the webinar. So we would like for you to stay so that you can get that evaluation form. And afterward, after the discussion with Alan, we would like to hear your thoughts, your insights, and of course, your inputs, because these are very important as we design our learning sessions. Just another reminder, don't forget to check and recheck the name that you will input, because our certificates are generated automatically. So whatever you type in the form will be the one that will be printed on your certificate. Also, don't forget to check and recheck the email address that you will enter, because if that's wrong, you will not be able to receive the email of your certificate. Okay, so now let's move forward to our main topic for this afternoon. So this October, as we all know, or for those who do not know yet, we are celebrating the National Mental Health Month. That's why Positive Workplaces designed these webinars, which champion the well-being and mental health in the workplace. So I know that most of you are seeing how to cure or what interventions can be done for mental disorders or mental health concerns, because of course we acknowledge that we are in a pandemic. So that's totally normal. It's totally normal to experience mental health concerns or issues once in a while. But on the other side of the coin, let us not forget how to invest on what we are naturally good at. That is why we prepared these following webinars for you. So we usually include the core of our learning sessions are based on positive psychology concepts, leadership, and of course, how to create a culture of compassion inside the workplace. And we are starting off this month's webinar with Awakening Heroes, Empowering Your Best Self, where Alan will be sharing with us about strengths and how to become our own heroes. And then next week, we are going to talk about taking back control, because I'm sure that the pandemic has taken most of the control from us. That's why we would like to teach you, or we would like to share with you some tips and tricks on how we can balance work demands and resources. And last but not least, we would like to talk about what's the T with positivity. I'm sure you've seen a lot of positivity posts, but why is it really important to focus on this? So we are going to talk about the benefits of positive emotion on mental health, and we are going to learn from Coach Gio or Jericho Kapinpin on why positive emotions are important and how we can apply them in our daily lives. So be sure to register for all 3 webinars, because this is really going to be fun and learning filled month. And we just don't do this for the month of October. We do this monthly because we want to make well-being education accessible and available to everyone. Because again, your well-being and of course the well-being of the whole workplace are very important to us. So this afternoon, we are gonna be Alan Gattenby is gonna be discussing what heroes enable us to achieve, why are heroes important in the time of rapid change, and how can we wake the heroes inside ourselves and our organizations. So Alan Gattenby is the director of Success DNA, and Alan is a leader among leaders. He's recognized for leading organizational and individual change globally. He's an internationally accredited career and talent development coach with a passion for recognizing and developing excellence. Alan's leadership is energetic, creative, strategic, and empowering. He's sought after in facilitation, coaching, training, and presenting. Alan delivers on developing high performing individuals, teams, and organizations. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Alan. Alan, are you there?
Gabby, and I've been listening. Excuse me, I'm a little humbled by your introduction, but thank you for that. So that is good, and welcome everyone. It's good to be home, and I'm just going to share the screen with you, but I'll just sorry, bear with me while I do this, and so here we are, and Gabby, can you see my screen and can you hear me okay?
Yes, you can see your screen and you are loud and clear.
Fantastic. And look, it is so good to be home. I never forget the second time I visited the Philippines. I was at the airport and picked up by my driver, taxi. And the driver asked me, is this your first visit here? Poe? And I said, no, it's my second visit, in fact. And he said, oh, welcome home. And so since 2016, I've been a regular visitor to the Philippines and working very much with different organizations there, and always loved the spirit of the Philippines. So at this particular time, in the pandemic, my last visit was in fact February 2020. And the week after I arrived home from the Philippines was in fact when Australia went into lockdown. And so from then to now, then I've been working largely online and working from the comfort of my own home, but still maintaining connection. So I'm delighted to be invited by Positive Workplaces. John has already indicated that he and I met through a presentation that he did with the Organizational Development Practitioners Network. And I was just so impressed with the concept, impressed with the vision that Positive Workplace brings with it. That, afterwards, as he said, we reached out and connected, and both of us were greatly impressed by the alignment, the synchronicity and the alignment between Positive Workplaces and the work that Success DNA does. And so as a consequence of that those conversations, and today I just wanted to share with you some ideas around the times we're in and what it is calling us to do. I think right around the globe, people are still experiencing shock about the pandemic. Yesterday was a very significant day for us here in Sydney. It was the first day since June 26 that there was no stay-at-home order. So from June 26 to yesterday, we were under a stay-at-home, so everyone could, you could only remain in your house, and so businesses were closed and all these sorts of things happening. But yesterday there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and it doesn't appear to be a train coming towards us. So, it is good news, and there's a certain level of excitement. But these times, so that was our second wave, and it's been really interesting times, and it has really called upon people individually and collectively to reach deep inside to get the strength and the character and the emotional set to be able to carry on in fine spirit. So today's webinar is a little bit of understanding, giving ourselves a shake, giving our organization and our community a little bit of a shake to see if we can identify and discover the heroes that lie within us. So what I would like to do is just begin with a thought. I mean, the context is quite there, quite real for us. 1 in 4 people in the Philippines are experiencing depressive disorders. Now, Gabby is the clinical psychologist, and she will be able to, at another time, explain the difference between a depressive disorder and psychological distress. But I think these are really important figures for us, statistics for us to hang on to. The Philippines is suffering and Filipinos are suffering pretty badly. 50% of the people are in a psychological distress, and I know that from my friends who talk with me each day. From their 1 in 4 people, so 25% of the population are experiencing the pressures. So kindness does matter, and being kind to yourself matters most of all, and to reach inside yourself, because if an egg is broken from the outside, life ends. But if the egg is broken from the inside, life begins. Yeah. And so there's just a starting thought for today. Let's have a little bit of a look then at what our intent, or sorry, building on that point about what we're looking at today is just that whole idea that this is your life. You're either here this evening as an individual and interested from an individual perspective, or you are a leader organization and you have responsibility not only for your own life but the lives of other people. And so your life and your organization is yours, and you choose the life that you want to have. Because if you don't choose it, someone else will choose it for you. And perhaps you may not like the choice they choose for you. So here is a really strong scenario for us to come together to share some of these sorts of ideas. My intention today is really to, first of all, take a brief glimpse of what could be unleashing, what means this unleashing of the power from within. So who is your hero? I see along the screen coming up was a number of heroes, and noticing that many of them are sort of cartoon characters or whatever. But increasingly, I saw real live people coming into part of the hero. So yes, we'll have a look at who is your hero and why. And if we can understand that, then you can also understand a little bit more about yourself. Wanted to take a quick look at how heroes are important, and to then begin this process of how do we discover the hero inside ourselves, or inside our organization, inside our community. And for that, I'm going to use the framework of the hero's journey, a little bit of story, and from there understanding that the key here is understanding self and discovering self. So we'll have a look at a process and a way and a wonderful tool in Career DNA, which would, give us some food for thought, some ways to move forward. And of course, before we leave this experience, and we'll have a little bit of look at in discussion around what the next steps might be. So, in your chat box, you've already put down your one hero, but I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of thinking at the beginning here. What I'd like you to do is to think about who are your top 3 heroes, yeah? And in your chat box, can you write down some of the things? What is it that your heroes do which inspire you? Why do you look to them as a hero? Yeah, what do they do? And how have they influenced your life? So just very quickly, just briefly, if you can think about those 2 questions and use your chat box there just to, what is it that your heroes do for you, and how have they influenced your life? Just some keywords. Doesn't have to be a long story, it can be just 1 or 2 words. While they're doing that, go, here we go. Oh, Abby, Mom, Dad, God, they nurture and guide me every day. Fantastic. So close to home too, aren't they? Yeah. My dad. Yeah. Neil. Yeah. My mom. Great. I see this. Thank you for responding so much. God, Mom, and Dad. My kids. Excellent. My family, workmates, dogs. Yeah, they keep me sane and they keep me motivated. Fantastic, Celine. I love that. Keeping you sane and keeping you motivated. Jesus, of course, a hero for many. Family, says Sheeny. Jesus, yeah. Parents and God, they love no matter what. There's an interesting comment. Thanks, Mercy. They love no matter what. Love is the greatest. Yeah. My mentor, says Nellie. Yeah. My pastor, says Carlos, included Darlene, because she inspires me with songs of worship. True. Jose Rizal. Yeah. Fought oppression. Stood up against the powers of the day. Yeah. Incredible man, Rizal. My cousins and my older friends, they're inclusive, and they really motivate me to do my best. Fantastic. Yep. So that's wonderful. And look, don't let me discourage you, but so keep adding there. But what I thought we might do is just to generalize some of these things that are coming through the chat box. Firstly, you notice that that your heroes, your mom, dad, family, Jose Rizal, whoever, Jesus and God and so on, what it is, how do they influence you is that they enable you, they inspire you, they give you courage, they guide you, so these people enable you, your heroes enable you to achieve extraordinary things. So, something that maybe you wouldn't be able to in dream you can do, but if your heroes guide you and enable you to do that. So heroes are very important because they are empowering, they are powerful, you see them, we see them as very powerful people and empowering, and they give us courage. And that's a courage. Not only we have fear is a great limiting force. It's not just the fear of failure, but for many people, sadly, fear of success is also a very real fear. And so courage is an important element in this, that we need to be able to confront and see the challenges as opportunities and to be able to work forward on that. So our heroes enable us to become resilient. That is, like Rooster Cogburn and John Wayne in his movie True Grit. This incredible character of John Wayne. There's a scene where he puts the reins of his horse in his mouth. He cocks his rifle and has his handgun, and he charges with his one eye patch and one good eye. He charges into the, towards the people who want to hurt him, want to harm him. An incredibly moving moment of grit and resilience and courage and power. Great movie, True Grit. So heroes also focus us on working for the greater good. They all carry a certain amount of wisdom. It doesn't matter whether it's a cartoon character or a real life character or a hero that you have. The essential message is that good will triumph and that there is wisdom in working towards the greater good. So this brings us then to the point of the question is, how are heroes important? Firstly, our heroes show us a better way. And I love this little character because look at the power of the arm. It's going up. A better way is up. It's not down. It's not like downward spiral thinking, but it's up in abundance mentality. It's the world of possibility. This is the way we're going to fly. It's up there. We're going to soar like eagles. It's the inspiration that comes from that. So that enables us to achieve greater things. It should be, I think, greater things. So our heroes provide inspiration. Our heroes provide clarity, and we know that clarity is power. The clearer we are about concepts or issues or problems or solutions, the more likely we are to be able to achieve them. Our heroes bring us passion. They show us the importance of passion and purpose. And with both passion and purpose, which lie within us, they are unique to us and sit within inside us. That is where we will find our ability to fly and to glide. Our heroes show us a way. So they guide us in terms of process, how to get the things that we are so desperately need, how to find the opportunity and challenge, in the doom and gloom of the pandemic, where do we find, how do we beat this, and what will the future look like? We know that the new normal will certainly not be like the old normal, and it will not be like the normal that we're experiencing now. It will be different. But how do we move towards that? How do we get through a day which is looking black? It was for many of you, I noticed that Jesus is your hero. And one of the scenes there is the scene, the calming of the storm. There he was with his disciples sitting in the boat, and this huge storm and the water washing all over them. And his disciples became quite fearful. And yet, he sat there calmly and just said, have faith. Have faith, better times will come. And it's your faith which will carry you through, but your actions will also. You need to take action to be safe, to be secure, to make sure that you are okay, but also making sure that the rest of your colleagues, the rest of the disciples are okay. So process and product also are important, and our heroes guide us in terms of not only what should we do, but how to do it. Our heroes teach us that the power to change, the power to triumph comes from the inside. It is not something which is poured over us. It's not something that we rub on, but it actually comes from within us. And so therefore, because each of us are, although we look very much the same, we are really quite different. Our action and our product and our purpose and passion will be quite different, but it will come from the inside. And our heroes, of course, teach us that success brings success. So when we experience a sense of achievement, particularly in face of a challenge, this really increases motivation. So intrinsic motivation is what our heroes introduce us to. That is the desire, the want, the ability to work from within what we have and working together with others. But the first step is a step from within. So let's just, I guess, fair. I've asked you to share with me, with us, your heroes. Like so many people in the audience, my mum and my dad, particularly my dad, but to a great extent too, my mum also were my heroes. I am the youngest of 5 from a farming family in New South Wales, and we did not have a great deal of money, and mum and dad, when they were younger, used to trap rabbits and sell the rabbit for fur and for meat. And so here they are as young parents, as newly married, living on the farm. When I was about 15 years of age, I said to my father, he could have been anything. He is the first Australian-born child of his family. His father was a surgeon, his mother was a nurse, and they migrated from England around the turn of the century in about 1908, and they settled in Australia. And I said to him, Dad, why did you become a farmer? He said, because I could. It's how I have been designed. Now, I remember those words, but I did not understand them at the time. It was later in life that I really understood what he was talking about, because he taught me so much about this seasonality of life, that we never harvest in the same season that we plant, that after winter will always be spring. And there is a season for everything, a season for nurturing, a season for preparing spring. We prepare the soil, we prepare the seeds, we plant them. The season for nurturing is summer. And so we have, if we give the right nurturing of the seeds and the plants as they're growing, then we will have a good harvest, which is, of course, is the season of autumn. And of course, then following the harvest, we need to rest, we need to renew, we need to revitalize. And so that's the season of winter, because we're resting and we're renewing and so on. So I learned the seasonality of life and the importance of working with nature, not against nature, from this man here, and so many other things about community life and so on from my mother. I have to say also that one of my great heroes is Nelson Mandela. You know, one of his most influential quotes is he said, "This man who spent 25 years in jail, was a bit like Jose Rizal. He stood up for authority. He was jailed for it. And as we know, it was not an easy life. But he then could say he never lost. He either won or he learnt." And it's that philosophy which has over the years that I've been very fortunate life that, it's sort of an outlook on life that has stood me in good stead. So I never lose. I either win or I learn. And I've been on some pretty steep learning curves during my life. Australia has but one saint. That's the Saint Mary MacKillop, and Blessed Mary MacKillop was, canonized in 2010. I was a school principal and for 20 years, and those 20 years I was in Catholic education. Although I started my teaching career in the government sector and have a great deal of faith, strong belief in public education, I ended up in Catholic education, and Mary MacKillop was very influential. This is a person, a very ordinary person who became a saint because what she was able to do and the lives that she changed. This is a person who, because of her strength and her courage and so on, was she was banned from the church. She found support, would you believe it, in two Protestant ministers, and she was supported through them while she was, not welcomed in the Catholic Church. And eventually it was they who were successful in convincing the Pope that she should be readmitted. And now today we celebrate her life and her influence. Blessed Mary MacKillop, an incredibly courageous and focused and inspirational person who worked for the common good. One of her best known sayings was, of course, when you see a need, you do something for it. It's the simplicity of life. When you see a need, do something about it. So, I just wanted to share with you again some of my heroes, just to reinforce these points. These are the people, our heroes are the people from whom we draw inspiration. They are the people from whom we draw courage. They are the people from whom we draw grit. They are the people from whom we build resilience and work forward. So how do we do that? In the hero's journey, we find some of the secrets of growing and understanding and working with our hero, particularly the hero within. And the hero's journey is a really interesting sort of framework to maybe put some ideas around. So the hero's journey is a template for understanding a story, which is an adventure story, and all our heroes, particularly the cartoon heroes and the story heroes, the folk heroes that we have, they all go on this this journey, this quest in search of their legacy. And it's a real life adventure, but it's also a story in which they are struggling. And it's a movement from the ordinary world, their real world, into the unknown. So here is a way, a journey, a circular journey, and they call the hero's journey. And I commend you. There's a lot on the internet around this hero's journey, and play with it, have a look at it. Because it's really interesting how it will work, and it will work for you. the journey begins with a longing, as it says here. And so very often the desire or the sense for something different is the impetus for us to engage or become involved in a life journey, which this is. And, the first part of the journey is this is the inward journey, is, interestingly enough, in the storybooks and in the storyline of the hero's journey, we always meet up with the mentors and friends, the people who are going to take us through this unknown era. And so this is where I think, in the modern day, we can say, yep, at this stage, we engage with a coach. We find our mentors, and it was so good to see in the list of who are your heroes, people be like your mentors being acknowledged. And so, in this hero's journey, and the work that I do, is that we engage a coach, but we engage in life design coaching. And I want to talk a little more about that, because this is in going into the unknown. It's full of fear. It's full of uncertainty. It's full of anxiety. It's like the VUCA times in which we live, where we're, volatile, uncertain and complex and ambiguous times, not only from the pandemic, but, we have the same process happening through IR4 and through IR5. And, the real concern is, what is this going to happen? The plain facts are, as John, in his presentation clearly said, organizations for the future are going to look and feel and sound very, very different to what they currently are, and will need to be. And we need to understand that. So, with the help of friends, by engaging a coach and by involved in becoming involved in life design coaching, we travel in until we come to this space which is often called the abyss. This is the point of transformation. In recent readings and research, this has now been called liminal space. It's the space of change. And so if you are interested to read more about that, read the work of Norma Munson and his daughter, Andrea, and others from Canada and North America. But talk around this transformative space. This is where the change occurs. It's not pleasant. That's why it's called the abyss. And there has to be a death in order that you can have new life. So this is what change is all about. Life and death are all part of a life cycle. They're not separate events, and it's not you can be anxious about it and fearful of it, but with the help of and with the courage that you have been given and the help of the people who are with you, you will go through it, and suddenly you emerge from the abyss, and you begin to understand through the revelations here, what this new the new you is all about. It's what you've broken through. And if you want to understand that, think about the last time you confronted something particularly stressful. It was worrying you. And then you decided, you worked on it, you started to shape up what you were going to do. Yeah. And then the moment of truth came where you actually had to do that. You had to confront someone or the situation. You had to work with it. And having experienced that, then you start to move through. You get the sense of some easing. And then, the revelation of what was actually happening there and how you were able to manage that becomes more real. And so this is where the atonement and you've addressed the issue and you've righted the wrongs, so to speak, and you're moving through here. And so this outward journey is taking you back towards home, but of course, home will never be the same because of you've been changed. And so this is, pardon me, this is the process of firstly having a desire for change, moving into confronting and dealing with the change, moving through the transformation liminal space, and pardon me, so that you then can move forward into actualizing, carrying out the change and living this new life, which of course enables you to review and refine and fix and fine tune so that you are completely in charge of or in better control of this space in which you were once overly or very, very concerned with. So, what I'm saying is that discovering the hero, firstly, is a journey. It will not happen overnight. It's a journey of discovery. It's a journey in planning and designing what you want to happen, making it happen, executing, if you like, and then to relive and to reshape the future coming out of it. So it's a three-stage journey, if you like, which you embark upon when you start to discover your hero. Through all that, the most significant concept is the one of self-discovery. And so, the question in my mind here is, how well do you know yourself? And you might like to use your chat box to put a score. 0, I know myself. I don't know anything about myself. 10, I know myself incredibly well. I know myself so well that I keep running into myself coming back. And then secondly, how much are you worth? 0 would be not much. 10 would be priceless. I mean, absolutely priceless. So in your chat box now, just how well do
Hello, Alan. For some reason, we can't hear your audio.
Are you on mute? Hi, Alan. Can you try to reconnect your audio?
Hello, Alan.
Alan, we can't hear you.
Maybe the headset itself is on mute. Could you check, Alan, if your audio is working well? Because right now we cannot hear you. No worries. You can take your time. There are a lot of people still replying in the chat box. So
Yeah. So we can see a lot of 7, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the chat box as to how well they know themselves.
Hi, Gabby.
Yes, hi, John.
Yeah, maybe we can try to read some of the responses of the audience also while we're waiting for Alan to reconnect. So we're very sorry everyone for some of the technical issues. I'm sure some of us are also experiencing it because of the internet connection. So maybe we can see if um maybe we can let Alan in again and see how he's going. Um, Kelly, can you make Alan a co-host again, please? There you go. Hi, Alan.
We still can't hear you.
Yeah, we still can't hear you. Maybe it's your headset.
Yes,
Uh,
can you?
can you try to unhook the headset and see if it will work without it? Yes. All right. But don't worry, this happens. Um, oh, sorry,
There.
Alan. We're starting to hear. Hello? There you go. Hello? Hi. We can hear the headset again for some reason. I think it's because you turned it on and off. Hello? Hello? Yeah, that's while we're waiting for Alan to reconnect. Gabby, what are the common things that you see in the chat box? What are the common responses that you're seeing from people who have responded to Alan's question?
Well, to the first question, John, on how well do they know themselves, I can see a lot of 6, 8, and 9s.
Yeah. How about
And
you?
then
If it's you,
if
if
it's 1 to 10, I think I'm an 8 as well. Because I still keep on discovering something new about me every day. How about you, John?
I think I'll probably rate myself as 9. I love journaling, like and trying to get to know myself from like I've probably taken around 5 strengths assessments
Mhm.
in my life and a lot of psychological tests. So you get to know yourself through some of these assessments, through your friends, through people who
Yeah,
know you a lot also, no? So the more you have those conversations, the more you get to know a lot of them better. Yeah.
I think Alan's back. But yes, John, that's true. Those are just some ways that they can, for those who answered 6 or lower.
Yeah. Hi, Alan. I'm gonna try to unmute you. There you go. No, no audio
There's still
still.
no
Still
audio.
no audio. Yeah. Sorry. Maybe we can use the. Yep. I really think this prompt is very like a lot of people are responding, Gabby. Like saying that
Yes.
8 or 9 on how they know themselves. Um, and to give people some tips, you can actually try to answer some online self-assessment tools that you could use to get to know yourself better. Sometimes we get really amused whenever we look at tools from BuzzFeed like what's your favorite Disney princess, or what type of anime character you are and stuff
Or
like that.
what's your astrological sign? I think that's very popular nowadays.
Yes, yes. It's a normal thing now, when
Hmm.
you get asked about how, like, how you are in certain questions or certain parts of your life, you get to know yourself better. So we're going to share with you in the chat box some possible tools that you can use to check your strengths. So you can search via character profile or strengths profile. And Alan, I'm sure later on will also share with you Success DNA's tools that you can also use probably to check up on yourself. Yeah, so I think Alan may have to restart the computer. Alan, can you hear us? Can you hear us? No.
No.
Wait, I'm gonna send Alan a message. So maybe we can chat a little bit while we're in. Alan, sorry.
I'm just.
There.
Hey,
Perfect.
can you hear me?
There.
There
Yes,
you go.
we can hear you.
Now. So we're almost we almost are out of ad libs. So yeah, Alan, please go ahead.
My apologies. Quite a bizarre event, but
it happens. I mean, this is what
yeah.
happens in live session. So please go ahead.
But John, I could hear you and Gabby having a little chat about journaling as a strategy, and you know that's really great. So thank you for filling in a little bit of time. And what I'll just do is pick up, but I'll move very quickly for the last time, and you know, move through this you know, as quickly as I can. You know, just some key points. Self-knowledge enables better understanding of ourselves. But more importantly, in many ways, it enables us to better understand the diversity of people who are around us. And that's just so important. You know, emotional intelligence has been, I guess, become accepted as one of the key intelligences for relationships. You know, emotional intelligence enables us to better understand ourselves and how other people will relate to us and the emotion of that. So self-discovery is important for just, you know, not just for ourselves, but for the relationships and how we are defined and the influence that we have in relationships. Self-valuing, on the other hand, enables greater happiness, and happiness precedes success. Happy people are more successful. Happy people are more productive. Happy people are more resilient. So, you know, it's not to overplay the importance of self-discovery and taking an inward journey. And even if you are looking at yourself and saying, I think I know myself pretty well, you know, I would give myself an 8 or a 9 or even 10, you know, there's always room for more information. But you know, I've been writing a lot about leadership in recent times, and understanding that personal intelligence, that is your self-knowledge and the use of that self-knowledge for a greater good, is the foundation of leadership or intelligent leadership. So, you know, from this we can say, you know, self discovery is just so important. We know also that clarity is power. You know, clarity is empowering. So, you know, pardon me. And we know that drata should really drive all our decisions. The best decisions, even though they may be made intuitively or have a feeling of spontaneity about them, you know, if they are made on good, solid information, good and clear information, then they tend to be better. My good friend and colleague, Dr. Brian Schwartz, an American psychologist who has for the last 10, 11 years lived in China, is designer of, you know, he wrestled with this, and he's designed a tool called Career DNA, which is Sir Kenneth Robertson described as the most comprehensive self-discovery tool available. And you can read what Sir Kenneth had to say about Career DNA in his book on Please Understand Me. But you know, what Brian has been able to do is he integrated the best of psychology and 40 years of exemplary practice in career and talent development and contemporary thought leadership to develop a tool which is called Career DNA, and it's a 6-factor self-discovery tool. So it's not a psychometric. In fact, the difficulty with psychometrics are good tools, very useful tools, but one of the difficulties is that they are so often used to be predictive. What Brian wanted was a tool which would form the basis of really life-giving counseling and life-giving coaching. And so this is what he designed. He came up with this 6-factor self-assessment tool. It is available online, and he talks about it constantly, about picking up the whole idea of traits and preferences rather than predictive or categorizing behavior and a response. Now the first thing he will look at, and the foundation of all things, is that of type and temperament. So he's incorporating and using the Jungian psychology, and the reason why he's calling this a foundation and a business foundation is because what Jung was interested in was how you become wired. Jung and later people, particularly Dr. David Kersey, is how you become wired for success, how you interact with your environment, and you not only survive, but you thrive in your environment before you have language. So that is the importance of type and temperament. And it's the first 3, from 0 to 3 years, we're interacting and we are mastering and we're thriving without language. Personality, on the other hand, is how we interact with the environment after we have language. And so personality and character tends to be more dynamic, and it tends to focus, and in Brian's work, tends to focus on character, like grit and resilience and so on, as the second factor. So again, there's an online assessment. You interact if you want it, and you want to know more or deepen your understanding of how you respond to and react to your environment and inside part of your DNA, if you like. Then these first 2 factors are the key to that. The third factor is that of skills DNA, and here Brian, being an undergraduate in chemistry, drew on his early experience. He has a PhD in psychology, but he was an undergraduate chemist, and decided upon his graduation that the sort of chemistry he was most interested in was that of a human chemistry. And so skills DNA, what he does here is to identify, by encouraging the participant to record or to tell 7 little stories about their when they were in psychological flow. So it's building off the work of Christian Mahaley and Daniel Pink in terms of understanding the skills you're using when you are in psychological flow, where you are at your peak performance. And he groups those, he deconstructs those, helps you to deconstruct and understand those stories for the skills you're using when you are in flow. And then he groups those skills because no skill is independent. Skills tend to belong to a tribe. So in different situations, you will draw on different skills, but you will use them as a team, if you like a skills team. So skills DNA is really a signature piece of work. It's a fascinating journey into a better understanding, both when you are in psychological flow, the skills you're using, and how you construct teams out of the skills that you have a preference for. The fourth factor of self-discovery is that of values, and of course values determine the decisions and say very much about what our sense of purpose is in life. The fifth factor for self-discovery is that of interests or the content of the things that you want to work in. And this, of course, in Career DNA, it not only looks at occupations which may be of interest to you. So, for younger people who are looking at entering the workforce, or maybe you're in their first transition or graduating and they want to look at different occupations differently, and the ones which would use their skills and match their value set, then occupational and interest information is very important. But Career DNA also helps you understand roles within organizations. So would you be better off being in logistics or sales or marketing or learning and development? So, Career DNA has, in terms of this fifth factor, you can, depending on your purposes for getting involved in it, in this journey of self-discovery, then you can gear it towards that. The sixth factor that Brian was looking at was that of self-esteem. And one of the key things that he says that you will only experience success to the extent that your self-esteem will allow. In other words, if you have low self-esteem, then you will get low achievement. If you have high self-esteem, you'll be able to achieve that much more. So, the importance of self-esteem being the umbrella. So, armed with deep knowledge around your type and temperament and how you have been wired, your brain and your nervous system has been wired to maximum performance. Understanding personality and character, the grit and those things that will give you strength to carry on through, where courage sits, understanding values and skills and content. Putting all that sits underneath that umbrella of self-esteem. So this is a tool that is actually put together. Within Career DNA, there is a seventh module, and that is how to actualize, how to take what it is that you've been endowed with and what you have been working on and developing, and what this hero potential, and then how to put it into action. And that's the seventh component of Career DNA, that of what at the moment Brian has been calling personal branding. But since I've joined him, he's agreed that it goes much further than personal branding, and it's about how to translate into action, how to actualize. So having gone through a stage of self-discovery, with good coaching, with good counseling, you can move through the liminal space, you can affect the transition, the transformation, and through action. And that's the first step of actualizing. That is taking what you've planned to do and putting it into action, if you can remember the hero's journey, and then begin to actualizing and going on from there. So that's Career DNA, one of many very, very good tools. But I have to say that as a coach and being involved in career and talent development for many, many, many years now, I wished I'd had that tool when I started rather than other tools. And over the years, I've had to use various ones like Facet 5 and Strong and Hogan and numerous others, Career Anchors and so on. But Career DNA gives me a nice little package with which I can work. I've emphasized that, and I just really want to touch on and share with you a little bit, around coaching and why coaching is so important. Coaching has been demonstrated as being the most cost-effective way to bring about change in your life or change within organizations. If you stop and think about it, can you think of any successful person who does not have a coach? In our top sports people not only have one coach, but they will have several coaches. Usain Bolt arguably was, he certainly was the fastest man on earth. He had no less than 11 coaches for different coaching for different parts of his racing regime and living regime. We know coaching focuses on lifting performance. That's why it is successful. It looks at understanding and getting clarity about passion and purpose, but it also focuses on process and product. Where do you want to get to and how you're going to get there? So what is it that you have been designed to do? That's your purpose. What is your passion? Are the gifts and the talents and your strengths, if you like, that will help you get there, how you're going to get there, and what will it look like as a process and product. Life coaching, just to take it one step further, of course, is focused on having a better life, be it at home or at work. But, I've talked now about life design coaching, and that's how I prefer to refer to myself, as a life design coach. And that is because we've integrated design thinking into the coaching process. So design thinking is based on understanding with empathy. If you look at classic design thinking, which our engineers and our people have given to us, and the first step is to understand, and to understand with empathy. It's about getting clarity not only of what is happening, but what's the emotion around that? What is the passion which is driving that? Design thinking in the second step is really a different way of exploring. So it's really focusing on developing possibility thinking and undertaking radical thinking, thinking outside the square, thinking as you've never thought of or even looked at, different little problems before. So, and design thinking is also very much about actualizing, but not actualizing with a particular product. But in design thinking, we talk about developing prototypes, we talk about experimenting with different things, and then making, getting feedback and making decisions based on data, and fix and fine tune. Nelson Mandela, he never lost, he only won or he learnt. So we either, through our prototype and through our experimentation, we either win or we learn so that we will win going forward. So that's why I talk about life design coaching as opposed to coaching or strength coaching or life coaching and so on. In all this, leadership is critical. And I just share with you and remind you of the work of a great researcher and leader, Dr. Linda Hill, who said innovation is not solo genius, it's about collective genius. And this is the art of leadership. What she found in her longitudinal study, she and her colleagues found that the organizations, the communities which thrive in periods of rapid change, we've an incredibly rapid change through IR4, the pandemic, and heading into IR5, which will be around the use of artificial intelligence and the further dehumanizing of our organizations. The organizations which thrive in periods of rapid change, and like the pandemic and so on, are led by people who are architects of a culture of collaboration, quite a different mindset. And so, this work of Linda Hill is incredibly important, because what she found was that when in organizations where collaboration rather than competition is practiced, where the diversity of humanness is celebrated and sought after and nurtured, these organizations having staff are connected with staff and with customers which are happy. And we know that happy people are more productive. We know that happy people are more resilient. We know that happy people are more engaged in the organization and organizational life, and they will do far more. If they are in psychological flow, they will do far more than what is expected of them or asked of them. Happy people are far more creative and innovative, and creativity and innovation is how we get entrepreneurship rather than employability becoming the norm. So part of this new norm will be around creativity and innovation in workplaces, in communities, and in the home, because in IR5, sadly, there will be, or whatever your persuasion is, but there certainly will be less people in employment as we currently know it than what we currently have. So this means there are more people in the community with more time to be involved in creative and innovative pursuits in order to understand how they define themselves, build relationships, and build community. So, what Linda Hill's work is saying is we need to develop intelligent leaders. And, the work that I've been doing is intelligence is not single faceted. It's actually five. I've, would say that there are described 5 different types of intelligence. So we have, personal intelligence, that is your knowledge of yourself and therefore of others and the ability to use it. Emotional intelligence, which is the your knowledge of emotions of yourself and other people so you can build better relationships. Cultural intelligence, understanding the diversity of cultures and diversity of organizations and communities with different cultural traits so that you can create greater inclusion and get the benefits, the productive benefits of diversity. SQ is spiritual intelligence, and this is to do with working for a greater good, and has a lot that talks a lot about spiritual intelligence, talks a lot about ethics and practice. And TQ, that of technical intelligence, is the ability to lead change. So it's the techniques of change, is why I've referred to it as technical intelligence. And I've written some articles around that. If anyone would like a copy, then they can contact me and I will do it. But most importantly, leaders who coach are the leaders that are able to support and sustain and build collective genius, creativity, and innovation, and have communities of people, customers, staff, and so on, who value their presence and value that of the organization. So that leads me to this point. How can positive workplaces and success DNA help you? How can we help you, awaken you? Well, we do offer life design coaching to individuals and to teams, and we also design the program to meet your particular needs. Career DNA is very flexible. I wouldn't suggest, I don't suggest to all my clients they do every one of these 6 factors of self-assessment. Through coaching, we work out the important ones and we will focus on those. But positive workplaces and Success DNA are both committed to training also, and programs we have. You can become a career leader and understanding in the use and accredited user of Career DNA. We have programs around life design coaching, which program that we're putting together at the moment will soon have international certified. You can become an internationally certified by the Institute of Creative Certification International as a life design coach, as opposed to other forms of coaching. And we have leadership packages too, which are incorporate awakening this whole idea of awakening excellence in your organization. So we have programs there for current leaders. We have programs which are designed more for aspiring leaders. And of course, we can co-create a leadership development program to fit you and your community and your situation. So just at this point, and mindful of time, let's take a quick reflection. And in your chat box, firstly, just thinking back over what we've covered, and I do apologize again for the interruption along the way, but your life is your choice. Choose wisely. Choose to look inside yourself or inside your organization or look inside your community and find the hero. Self-discovery is the first step. Know that when you travel, you do not travel alone. Take your friend, take your mentor, take your coach with you. Look for your complementary other. Look for your tribe. They will be it's a together team. Together, everyone achieves more is important. And take the time to design your happiness, to design your life, to design your future. So that brings me to this point. And in your chat box, I'm wondering if you might be able to think about, what did you enjoy about this input today? What have you learned? Or maybe, you're to the point where you say, this is what I would like to do next. What is your intention? So in your chat box, if you don't mind, if you can respond to those three questions. And just mindful of time, but while you're in your chat box there, if you can Celine, I'm just and Raquel, yay, we can hear it. I'm saying. That's good. So, but in your chat box now, if you could type either what you enjoyed about today, what you have learned from today, or what you would like to do next, what is your intention, maybe if you could record some things there. Okay. And I'm just displaying with you, I'm sharing with you my contact details. You can see them there, or you can contact John and his team at Positive Workplaces, and we can continue the conversation, at another time in another place. And just so maybe then to wrap up my part in terms of my final words, look, just a huge thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for being here and sharing. And just stay safe, stay well, and stay connected. Thanks very much. So, Gabby, back to you, I think. Yeah.
Thank you too, Alan. I'm sure our participants learned a lot. As you can see on the chat box, they are saying thank you because they've really learned a lot from your session. And personally, I learned a lot as well. I took notes. I have notes of your presentation.
That's good. No
And it's
worries.
really, really nice to see how Success DNA and positive workplaces have the same goals. Like we really start from the self. As you said, it's self-discovery is the first step. And that we bring other people with us. I think that's the most important lesson I got from today. And it's important to have a mentor. It's important to have a coach. And I hope that our participants also got this. So now we are going to our question and answer portion.
Thank you.
Okay, so for those who have, we are going to share the Pigeonhole link on our chat box, or you can go to pigeonhole.at. And then you can type in heroes. But for now, we have some questions here already. So Alan, if we can start. So the first question is, what will you choose, being right or being kind?
That's a really good question, JV. And, I guess it's a question, response here is a question of definition. I would say that being right is to be kind. And so if you are being kind, I guess there are, they are like interlocking circles. But I think kindness is important. But I think honesty is more important. And sometimes you have to be tough in order to be right. Pardon me. So if you draw some inspiration from, Jose Rizal, for example, or Mandela, or from Mary McKillop, or so many of the heroes, they always work for what was right for the greater good, not what is right for me, but rather what is right for we. So it has to be good for me and for others in order for it to be right. So if I had to choose, then I would choose to speak to being right, of which kindness has to be a part. Yeah.
Okay.
Gabby, I saw a question there around negative thoughts.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this may be a bit unrelated. Yes, go, Alan.
Yeah, look, it's not unrelated at all. It's very much related because negative thinking, Ben Zander, who was the conductor of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra and now a great life coach with his wife, said, look, he became a far better conductor on the day that he had an epiphany. The epiphany was he realized that he was the only musician as an orchestral conductor. He was the only musician in the room not making a sound. And so his greatness as a conductor was completely in the hands of the orchestra. So his success as a coach and as a conductor was how he could bring the talent out of each individual player, musician in the room, and bring it together in such a way that it made beautiful music that made him look so wonderful and great. So he describes two ways of thinking. One is downward spiral thinking, and the other is abundance thinking, or outward thinking. Abundance mentality, I think Stephen Covey calls it. How do you stop negative thinking? By being intentional, by understanding and practicing gratitude, by living acceptance. Ben Zander tells this story about the shoe company that wanted to know how to sell shoes in Africa. So they sent their two top salespeople to Africa for 1 month and then asked them to report back to the board. And so the story goes, the first person came back and said, situation hopeless. The natives, they don't wear shoes. And the second person got up and said, wonderful opportunity. The natives, they don't wear shoes. You see, our thinking is part of our mindset. But our thinking shapes our behavior. So if we're thinking negatively, then we will act negatively. So this is part of the becoming intentional about being positive, looking for the opportunity. Viktor Frankl said that even in the worst of atrocities, even in the middle of the Holocaust, in the Second World War, you could still find happiness. Because happiness is a mindset. So, how do you stop your negative thinking? Substitute some positive thinking, being intentional, being strong around that. Yes, but, rule out the but. Yes, 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 and explore. And second thing I would suggest really, to you would be to look for your complementary other, look for your tribe, look for someone who can help you, your mentor, your friend, and to help you gain strength around thinking positive, thinking abundantly. Yeah. Is there another question there, Gabby? We have just a couple of minutes, I think.
Yes, okay. So let's see. What if we can choose this? What if we do not want to be heroes? How can life design still help us?
Yeah, look, some heroes are very quiet. Some heroes, and that's part of their strength, and that's the courage. Being a hero doesn't mean you're out there leaping over buildings in a single bound. It doesn't mean that you are challenging authority. What it does mean is that you discover your hero by being true to yourself. And to be true to yourself, first of all, you need to understand yourself. Part of Jungian psychology, one of the greatest contributions Jung made was that to understand the difference between extroversion and introversion, to understand the difference between the sensate and the intuitive. So, the difference between thinking and feeling as traits, and the difference between being a perceiver or a judgmental in terms of execution. Being a hero doesn't mean that you're making a lot of noise. Being a hero means being true to yourself and using that truth to create a better life, firstly for yourself and then for others. Self-care is not selfish. Dr. Virginia Satir said back in the 1980s, 1990s, if you don't give self-care, you become selfless. So self-care is not selfish. If you don't practice it, you become selfless. If you don't undertake, discovering the hero inside you, and if it is a quiet hero, live your truth and truth will follow you. Yeah?
Yeah. Thank you for that, Alan.
You're welcome. It's been a great time, and here we are doing something we love, and the time just flows. It's just really flowing by. But Gabby, if there was one more question, then I can handle that.
Okay, let's choose one more question. Okay, I'll let you choose. Can you read them? Which one do you want to answer, or this one that has 2 votes?
I always wanted to engage a coach, but that first step always gives me anxiety. Yeah. A little secret. At the age of 55, I decided to get the first piece of career advice. I was going to practice my own practice on myself, if you like. I had the sense that I wanted to leave educational leadership or principalship, but I didn't know what I wanted to go to. So I thought it would be very easy to find a coach. But in fact, I found it very difficult. It took me 6 months to find a person that I felt comfortable enough with to work. Now, he did have similar hair color to me, he had a great deal of life experience, but more importantly, I had the sense that with him, he would be a critical friend and a friendly critic. And that's what I needed. And that put my fear, my anxiety at ease. I discounted all the earlier people because I could see and hear in their voice that they saw me as a means of bettering their life. They could sell, could sell my skills. They could help me. If they got me into the right career, they would earn a fee, pardon me. But in the coach that I settled with, a man who enabled me to radically change my life, was a person who I felt I could trust to be a friendly critic and a critical friend. And we are still friends after that was 2007, so it's more than a year. So yeah, so I understand the anxiety. Take your time. Look at many different coaches. You won't expect, if not every coach is the same, and not every coach will be able to relate to you and understand you. But so make contact with people, and when you get that sense, or in your mind or your heart that this is a person with whom you want to work, then you have the start of a beautiful relationship. Thanks, Gabby.
Yes, thank you also, Alan. And I just want to add what you said. No, I think the first step is actually recognizing that it's a type of vulnerability to accept that you need help.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I guess they're on the first step already.
Yeah. And also, just a little side note, part of the anxiety could be the anxiety about becoming successful rather than the anxiety of being failure. I mean, a good coach doesn't take over your life. A good coach enables you to have a better life. Hanging on to that. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a very good message to end this on that note, Alan. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure a lot of people learned a lot today.
Thank you. It's so good to be here, and I do wish you all have a safe and a healthy, way forward. And I look forward to hearing from you in the not too distant future. Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you, Alan. So before we go, we have a few announcements. So we would like you all to follow us on Facebook. We are facebook.com/positiveworkplacesph. So we use this page to share our knowledge on positive psychology, leadership, and we give out tips on how to apply well-being concepts in the workplace. So you can just type that, or you can search for Positive Workplaces on Facebook. And then we would like for you to join us again next week. And I will be your main facilitator on the topic, Taking Back Control, Balancing Work Demands and Resources. That will be on October 20, 2021, a Wednesday. So if you're free from 3 o'clock to 4:30 in the afternoon, we'd be glad to have you here again. And aside from that, we are also having another public course. We are offering a public course on Organizational Wellbeing 101 this coming November. So let us help you empower your leaders through Organizational Wellbeing 101 Train the Champions course. This will be facilitated by our Chief Wellbeing Officer, Nikki Vergara. So to know about the course, we are going to share the links. You can type bit.ly/PW Organizational Wellbeing, or you can go to the enrollment form, just type bit.ly/enroll organizational wellbeing. And if you have any questions, you can email us at learn@positiveworkplaces.org. And of course, your input is very much important to us. So if you could just answer our evaluation form, this will be open for 30 minutes. We are sharing the link on the chat box. So after you answer that form, you are going to receive your e-certificate. Again, don't forget to check and recheck as you type in your name and your email address so that you will be receiving the correct details in your email. Okay, you can see that on the chat box. Kurt and Rafi and Ja will be sharing that. There are a lot of thanks on our chat box, Alan.
Yeah, I can see. I've been reading. It's really great. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so before we close, Alan, do you want to say anything else before we close?
Just that, look, I am in full admiration of, positive workplaces. This is a key to a better and happier life and creating. I totally believe that, we must work to build a better life. Together we can beat this. We can beat the pandemic. We can have a better life. We can do all these things, but we need to join hands. We need to be working together and create tribes of success, of happy people. So, I'm really delighted to be able to be with you today. That there is so much good work going on around in the Philippines and elsewhere. But today has been particularly special, even with the glitch in the middle. And I found out a little bit more about my stress level and my ability to, my technology skills, and to learn how to ride the storm. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your understanding. Thanks for your affirmation. I'm very grateful to you all.
Yay! Thank you, Alan, and thanks everyone. See you again next week.
Cheers. Bye. Well.